Okay, so recording being started now. So hey guys, so we have Justin Wheeler with us today, and to tell more about Justin. So all I know as at the moment is that he completed like 13 cross AWS certification in his entire 4 years of journey. So we'd let Justin to introduce himself.
Yeah, sure thing. Um, so I joined the IT industry in 2016, and I've been using AWS since then. I started as a Java developer at Verizon. I worked as a cloud architect at Verizon. I'm currently working as a senior software developer with a new company called Bravo LT. I'm working as a consultant now. Um, and yeah, like you said, I had previously earned all of the AWS certifications. Um,
That's so cool. Thanks for the introduction, Justin. So to talk about the certification journey, so where the urge of beginning the getting the certification began, like what's the motivation for you to start the certification journey altogether?
okay. My so I would say that my manager and the support from Verizon was a big driver there. In around 2017, my project or my team was starting to work on migrations to AWS in the upcoming year. And since I've mentioned prior experience in that area, my manager had asked that maybe I look into getting some AWS certification so I could help with the migration efforts upcoming. And we had some internal sources at Verizon, like other people at Verizon were certified and they were helping others become certified through like some bootcamp program. So I was able to participate in some of those, which I think helped a little bit. And Verizon also provided some subscriptions to some third-party learning resources like ICLA Guru.
Mhm.
Uh, so I started my studies around there, and I got my first certification, which was the Solutions Architect Associate back in 2018. Um, and then I don't know, through there was like so much more that I still wanted to learn. And Ryan Krunerberg on the ICLA Guru platform had mentioned that there's so much overlap between the associate certifications, at least there was back in 2018, um, like 50% overlap between the three. So I took that as an opportunity to just keep going. And I got the developer associate and the sysops administrator associate both also in 2018. And around the same time, AWS had released the cloud practitioner as a foundational cert, which didn't exist before that. Um, and the understanding was that that certification was going to be easier than the associate level. So now that I have three associates, I decided to just go take that test, and I passed my first attempt. So then I had all four that year, and I actually helped lead our AWS migration at Verizon, and I was able to make a lot of the big architecture decisions that we ended up using, which was really cool.
So that's cool. So first you did all your associate level, and then AWS came with a junior level program. So you took the chance and managed to procure one more. That's interesting strategy. So I also even talk to the freshers who are I see like who are wants to start the certificate journey. Generally, people starts with like, okay, I'm going to start with cloud practitioner. But in generic, my personal opinion is directly to step ahead and begin with the solution architect associate, because it's not that easy, and just doing the certification just for the sake of doing than gaining the knowledge purpose. So I believe like associate level covers you the more generic stuff to start working in the real world, like covers the cost optimization, how reliable you can design, and the basic four pillars you would need. Uh, Whereas cloud practitioner, it's more generic for people who are in like universities who wants to know what is cloud or basic understanding. So if you are already out of college and eager to prepare for certifications, I believe the solution architect associate would be a good kickstart. So, what post the associate level, Justin? So, where it dragged you next?
Yeah. um, so after that, then I decided to start studying for the security specialty, because I know that security is such an important aspect, and I knew that it would be front focused during our migrations. Um, and honestly, I've seen that there's just not enough AWS security specialists in the industry. So that's the first one that I went for. I was able to pass it, and then I also got the Alexa skills next, and that one's deprecated now. It's no longer being offered, but at the time I was having a lot of fun programming custom Lambda functions on my home Alexa devices, so I decided to just go for that certification as well, and I
That
found
would
that.
be cool, right? Building your hobby plus certification plus job role. That's like a win-win situation.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah, that sounds funny.
um,
Yeah, I think I would also recommend for people, like it's always good to combine your hobby plus the certification journey plus where you want to be. How Justin quoted, like the Alexa skill set he made as a hobby to build Lambda and fancy stuffs at home. In my case, like I'm from the networking background, and I tend to use network services like Route 53 and CloudFront and all the fancy stuff. And I ended up building my own blog site. So it can be anything. It can be any of your hobby. Just see where you want to be. Narrow down where your passion towards is. Use the skill set to build the passion. So it's like a win-win for you in both in short term plus long term. Also, you can showcase your work for your next job role as well. Yeah, sorry, Justin. So, what next post to Alexa skills? So you did a win-win in security specialist, and then you find your hobby certification, Alexa, and then what happened next?
I think what happened next is I started my studies for the big data specialty certification, and then AWS turned around and said that they're going to deprecate that, and they released a data analytics specialty, and they also released the database specialty at the same time. So I switched gears, and I ended up taking both beta exams, so I could get a chance at the discount and also a chance to be one of the first people to hold those certifications. Um, Unfortunately, I failed the data analytics beta. I got like 74%, and I needed 75 to pass. Um, but I did pass the database specialty beta. Um, so I guess that was the next one that I got. And I got it right around the time that we were having a lot of database issues at Verizon. A lot of our teams were going around just cloning, cloning our Aurora database um, for staging purposes and stuff like that. And I was able to use that knowledge I learned in that certification to help kind of balance out that and see what databases were necessary and not necessary, and also some chances for optimization there, which was unexpected. Then yeah, and then I decided to start going for the professional certifications. I don't have a
Okay.
background.
Uh, so sorry to stop you right here, Justin. So before talking about the professional, so for the people, since we talked about discounts, you managed to get some discount vouchers from AWS. So for people who don't know, like once you clear any one of the AWS certificate, AWS offers you 50% voucher code so that you can apply that and pay half the price for your second certificate. And if you manage to clear second certificate, then again you get another 50 percentage, and this cycle continues like an infinite loop. So all you need to do is like you clear the first certificate, you get a 50 percentage code, and then you can continue for it. If for people who can't afford even that like 100 percentage for your first attempt, what you can try doing is there are AWS user groups from various part of locations. They conduct more sessions where you can take part of it. Either you can go and present sessions, or you can be participate in their contest, and they also offer certain voucher codes. Or like me and Justin, like we are part of a AWS program called Community Builders Program. So to talk about that, all you need to do is just about you need to contribute to the community by either making videos or by writing some blog. And if AWS recognize you, then you get a full 100% voucher code. So that would be a great start to get some discounts for AWS. If not, again, once you clear the first certificate, you get the 50 percentage, and the cycle continues as you could do a number of one. So coming back to your question or the journey, Justin, like so once you're done with this, and you started focusing on the professional certificates, isn't it?
Yeah, but I just want to add one more thing. If you're already working in the IT industry, a lot of employers will be willing to cover your certification expenses, or even reimburse you if you do cover out of pocket. With Verizon, my first attempt was free, since they gave vouchers for the associate level certifications, but anything higher than that was out of pocket, and then they reimbursed you if you passed. With my current employer, they reimburse me if I pass on any exam. So
That's,
I would talk to your
that,
employer if you're interested.
Yeah, that's cool. It's worth mentioning your company as well. Also, like in generic, company also gets some mutual benefit from AWS if they have like X number of certified employees under their company. They get some special standards and special discount. So yeah, it's like a win-win situation. So if you're already working in some XYZ company, do reach out to your company for the eligibility of reimbursement of your certification. That's also another way to go with your certification reimbursement. Yeah, thanks for highlighting, Justin. It's a good point out.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, okay. So after the database, I started studying for the professional certification levels. I didn't want to take the data analytics again, since I just failed it, and I was like heartbroken about it. And then I don't have a background in networking, so I didn't want to do the advanced networking yet, and I didn't have a background in machine learning, so I didn't want to do that either. But I thought that I was ready for the professionals, and I picked up enough certs along the way to help reinforce that, or to supplement that studying as well. So I studied for those for quite a while. I was taking several practice tests online with like Cloud Guru, Whizlabs is one that I use a lot for practice tests. And I wasn't scoring like where I wanted it to score, so I kept studying. I think I studied for the professional certs for over a year, but I passed both of them on my first attempt. The DevOps engineer professional was a lot easier than the solutions architect professional was, at least in my experience. It focused heavily on CloudFormation. So once you know like CloudFormation and all of the different code tools inside the AWS platform, like code commit and code deploy and code star and all that stuff, then I didn't have too many issues with that certification. The problem with studying the solutions architect professional is that pretty much every AWS service is in scope. So I spent a lot of time studying services that I didn't even see on my exam, which can be kind of upsetting. Like I studied the Elemental suite of services, and I didn't see those on my exam, at least not that I can recall. And a lot of IoT services, when that was actually a small portion of it for me. Yeah, so.
Yeah, so talking about the mock exams, I think even I prefer Whizlabs, though I haven't tried myself a Cloud Guru, but I have tried Whizlabs and John Bonso from Udemy. So those two I
Okay.
use for my associate level. And so viewers, like we also have a exclusive 50% offer code from Whizlabs. You can check out my channel, so you can use the exclusive code, and you can use a number of times. There is no limitations provided. Also, it's not affiliate link, so I don't get any commission for it. So it's just I reached out them out of curiosity, like I have a community base, can they help me out anything? And they are grateful and help me out. So if you want, you can also check out my channel and get the voucher code out of it. If possible, I'll attach the code below the video section. Yeah. So post professional one. I think you told DevOps professional is the one like easy peasy one, since you are already working on it and more hands on towards it. So what's the next one? Because you also have machine learning and other things, right?
So after I earned both professional certifications, that was actually about the time that my new company had reached out to me about a new role, and I was feeling like I couldn't progress farther at Verizon where I was. Like they wanted to promote me and move me further, but they wouldn't because I had limited years of experience, and they are very um, I don't know, very old school, traditional. You can't progress farther if you don't have X number of years of experience. So kind of like stuck sitting there. So I decided to leave them. I joined the new company Bravo LT around that time, and and that's when I started studying back for the three certs that I missed. So data analytics was the first one because I already came so close to passing it. I knew that um, I could probably pass it again if I just did a little bit more studying there. Um, and that certification focuses heavily on like the big data aspect. So Hadoop technology, Apache Spark, EMR. So I had to learn all of the big data services, um, like Uzi and Phoenix and Hue and all that stuff, that I'm not really familiar with because I don't come from the big data background. I wasn't working on any big data projects at the time. It was also expensive to experiment with those type of services because creating like a 5 or 6 node cluster is costing like hundreds of dollars per hour. So a lot of that studying was theoretical, and I watched a lot of videos on like Guru and Pluralsight to try to help me get through that. And I think I did some EMR labs on Guru or even Cloud Academy. And then also around this time, I was accepted into the AWS Community Builders program just in October 2021, and they gave me some help there with the voucher, like you mentioned, and then also the access to Cloud Academy. So I was able to expand kind of the tools I used to study. So I got data analytics, and then I got that on my second attempt, and then I started studying for the advanced networking, just because based on my conversations, it was easier than the machine learning certification was. So I had to do a lot of networking studying around that. So VPC endpoints, VPC peering, transitive VPC. Around this time, the AWS launched the Gateway Load Balancer. So I was studying for that. And again, with the projects I was working on, everything was just 100% in the cloud. There wasn't any hybrid connectivity. So all the hybrid stuff and the VPN connections, I kind of struggled with. I also struggled with when to use the difference between like there was a lot of questions I was seeing where both solutions were VPN based, but there was some slight nuances like an AWS managed versus customer managed, AWS site to site versus like a customer managed on a EC2 hardware, and the differences, pros and cons to that. But I ended up passing that on my first attempt, and I was surprised because I took that exam when I wasn't like 100% sure I was going to pass. I was like on the fence, but I did manage to pass that one. So
Yeah. So what I observed is a lot of membership program you had in terms of that help you out, like the community builder, which gives you a great community and provide you some access like Cloud Academy and like access to a Cloud Guru. It can be the same for you guys as well who are watching. So it's better to join as a community So try to look for AWS user groups, even if you can't get access for directly. I strongly recommend user groups. They conduct so many sessions, and you get connections of similar interest people who are preparing for your certificates, or who is experts in the domain which you're looking for. Same way, you can also try considering following some online courses. Also, AWS offers you the free tier account where you can try most of the services. Even in some case, if you find the services in falls under free tier, you can still raise support case to AWS and then explain your scenario. They're kind enough to offer some X vouchers, so that with the sum amount to which would be fine for your POC purpose and practice. So don't hesitate to ask. All you need to do is try out and ask the world. So you will get reach out to the solution where you want to be. So all I could see is in terms of like from the Justin journey is like, even if he's not aware about the skill set at present when he was about to start, but he never hesitate to uh, like begin, and he just stepped forward and seeking right help, joining the right community, and with right tools he could achieve even the something which he's completely new about it. uh, so my question here, Justin, like how you could able to recall everything what you study, because that's something generally people ask. Even it was there something similar for me as well, when even for preparing a single certificate, because it's like what you study in, as you told, most of the syllabus like overlaps. Like what you see in associate would repeat in professional, or you can see the same in like networking or other things as well. So how you could manage to recall, or what strategy you follow in terms of while studying something new, or in your study journey, what tips you want to share our viewers?
Yeah. Okay. So when I would study for an exam, I would go through like all the video content that I could find on the platforms that I have subscriptions to, and then after that, I would take a practice test, and I would go through every answer on the practice test that I either got wrong or that I was unsure about, even if I got it right. And I used a tool called Quizlet, and I would create online flashcards for those questions to
Sorry,
help me
what's the tool
remember.
name?
It's called Quizlet. So you can create some flashcards there, which can help you remember some stuff. And so I did that. And like every time I saw like a native service that never knew about, or like that I didn't know existed, which happens a lot during the study for the professional exam, that I would go and I would explore for like 10 minutes just to get some recon information on it. And then I would create a flashcard about it so I know what it is next time I see it. Or if I saw a service that was used in a question but didn't actually exist, then um, that happens sometimes as like a red herring. Then when I'm doing the 10 minutes recon, I would know, okay, so the service doesn't exist, right? And then and then kind of have to remember that, or create like a service saying like there's no service called like this name, so that way I can remember next time I see that to eliminate that answer. Um, so I did that a lot. And then just try to study the flashcards. They have a mobile app, so I can study for like 5 minutes on my phone while I'm waiting around for something, or waiting like for the coffee to brew or something like that. I just flip through some flashcards.
I believe like caffeine also one of the tip for your certificate clearance. I mean the coffee.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, for sure. Lots of coffee. And
yeah.
and one big important tip that I think has really helped me is try to study a little bit every day. That helps so much with recall. If you study like once a week or once every 2 weeks, you're not going to remember as much as you would if you studied for significantly less time, but every day. On Pluralsight, they have like a learning tracker type thing where it tracks how much time you've like a learning streak every time you study in a row. It kind of like tracks that, and I try
Okay.
to set aside time every day so that way I don't lose my learning streak. Um, and it's
Okay.
just another reminder to learn So my current learning streak is 792 days in a
Ah,
row.
yeah, so that's one thing to highlight. Like all this entire journey didn't happen overnight for Justin. It took like 4 years of span and continuous and rigorous efforts towards it. Also, as Justin mentioned, it's not about how much hours you spend per day. It's more about consistency. So even if you could manage to spend half an hour or 15 minutes, just do it consistently, and you would reach out your destination uh, at the
Yeah,
earliest
and
you could.
all all the major learning learning providers that I've used, Eclair, Pluralsight, Cloud Academy, I think even Udemy, they split it down into chunks of like 1 to 5 minute chunks. So every night, if you watch like 10 minutes of videos only, or like 1 or 2 videos, then you're going to remember that, and then you can just slowly make your way through the courses, and you'll retain more than you realize you will.
Yeah, that's it. To add on to it, like if you already know about certain topics, you can also use the time speed, the play speed button, so that you can fast forward or play it in like 2 cross or 1.25. That speed up the learning process for the topic which you already know. uh, yeah, also like already like courses like in Udemy or Cloud Guru, they are also like split it into chunks, like per topic wise or per service wise. Hardly it takes like 10 minutes or 15 minutes per service. uh, so it's good to do. Also, hands on is the best way to learn. uh, Myself, I'm not like 13 cross certified yet. I'm still in the process of my fourth certificate towards professional DevOps professional. So what I try to do is to accumulate the hands-on, because uh, like for a week I do the theoretical part. I have the notes and then sit one day and do all the hands-on at stretch. That's something work for me, because like it's very hard to do the hands-on in the weekdays with the pile of work, and if you're continuously working in AWS and staring the screen after office hours, the same console sometimes burns out. uh, so I generally tend to spend time over weekend for the hands-on part and theoretical part. Just same as Justin, I also do into chunk, and consistency is the key. So talking about the failures, Justin, it's not just about success, what you see, right? You also mentioned there are certain certificates where you failed, where like you missed from 1%, like 75% is the target, and by 74, it should be like a drain our brain, right? Like how you handle the situation, and how long it took you to bounce back. To re give the attempt of the same certificate post your failure.
Yeah, for sure. I I consider myself lucky that I haven't had more failures along this journey than I have. I failed three times out of um, I guess like 16 attempts. So it's pretty good, I guess. But um, it I don't know. There's a lot of emotions there. When um when I'm studying for a certification, I use the practice tests as a gauge to see if I'm ready or not. And sometimes the practice tests I've seen are harder than the real exam. So sometimes I'll get into this loop of like, um, I'm studying too long when I know the material. So sometimes when I get around that, or like get to that point, I'll just pick a day on my calendar. I'll just schedule the exam, and I'll set like deadlines for myself. And sometimes those deadlines are pretty aggressive depending on what I have going on in my life at the time. But I've taken some exams where I haven't been ready for them. So the first failure I ever had was the sysops admin associate. I failed that my first attempt, but I knew I wanted to get all of them in 2018. So I failed around I think the first week of December, and I scheduled my reattempt for the last week of December because that was the absolute last. Like if I don't pass at that time, then I'm not going to get all the associates in this year. So
Okay.
and luckily I passed that time. And then
Yeah.
yeah, and then I mentioned I failed the data analytics specialty beta, and I think betas are so hard because you get to see the exams first, which is awesome. But they're longer exams. I think they're 85 or 90 questions because they don't know what questions are going to keep on the exam or not. So, and you have to wait 3 months to get your score, which is it's pretty brutal. Um, but you get it at half off without a voucher. So there's some benefits there. And then if you pass, you get an extra 3 months on your certification lifeline, and you get to be one of the first people with it.
Okay.
But there's also not any existing study material. So like those sources like Ekaguru and Pluralsight, they don't have
Mhm.
courses available during the beta period because they're blindsided by the certification as like the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
So you have to kind of go on your own and try to study without those sources, which makes it more difficult, but it can also be more rewarding. Um, so I failed that data analytics question, and then I failed. If you haven't heard, AWS released a new beta, I think at reInvent last year, the
Mhm.
SAP on AWS. Um, so I took that beta in January and I failed it. I got a 71%. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but
Uh,
and I haven't passed that exam yet, but I'm planning on passing it this month.
Yeah, so I think risk-wise, I think it's better to avoid beta new certificates, so that let the guinea pigs attend it and tell the outer world how the exam is and what the pattern is. Observe from them and then go for it. Like for example, AWS Solution Architect Associate is getting renewed from C02 to C03
Yeah,
by August end. So if you guys out there preparing for it, do it before August, so that everyone knows the success formula already, like what kind of pattern, kind of questions comes and out there. If not, wait till September end and then give the C03, so that you have that 1 month period where the outer world reacts and observe the pattern out of it, and then get the certification clear. But altogether, the takeaways would be not just certification, your concept on it, but just to make the process easier, you can do this to step away from beta and anything that comes new, and let the outer world faces it. But if you are like a super topper or expert in AWS, feel free to go for it and help candidate like us, or like me at least, so that that helps us to proceed further with the great candidate things.
yeah.
Yeah.
When I was gonna say when I wouldn't have attempted the betas if I didn't already have like multiple certifications under my belt. And I think I used the knowledge that I learned on the beta exams to kind of
Mhm.
help Guru drive some of their courses for those programs. I I'm also like an Guru insider, so I'm trying to like I talk closely with the Guru staff and try to like help them build their content and give them an honest perspective of what like the customer sees and interacts with. Um, So yeah, so I think by doing some of those exams, I was able to help some of those instructors, and
Mhm.
that way they can get a feel of what they saw as well, right?
Yeah, honestly, that's so cool. I have last question for you, like in terms of like managing the notes, right? Like the strategy you told is to manage the flashcard or cue card to recall, but how do you take notes? I believe, like you mentioned about learning platforms to go and study,
Mhm.
but for people out there, let's say they don't have any access for learning platform. One easy access they could go for Udemy and AWS free tier, but other than that, do you think okay, I so far this is a common pattern where everyone goes and fetch the content from any common place, or any recommendation from you for the people out there, if they want to prepare any note taking tools or strategy that you followed and that would be helpful for others.
Yeah, I haven't really taken that many notes during my journey. I I think it takes a lot of time away from that. But I would say if you are going to take notes, try to focus on the stuff that you don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to spend all this time note taking for stuff that you know, right? And just trust that you're going to be able to remember that information when you see that exam, or and if you like if I see something new that I don't know, like I'll write that down and I'll focus on those aspects. Um, so you can save some time there, I guess, if you try to do that approach.
I used to take screenshots and like have a reference notes handy, and like on the associate level, what I observed is most of the questions are from the user guide itself, the AWS document user guide, where it says like how to create in the console, and they itself divide the topics into like cost optimization, security, and those specific ones. And most of the questions on the exam circulates around that on all the certification part. uh, so as Justin mentioned, it's totally up upon like the people's learning strategy. Like a few prefer notes, few are like trust on the muscle memory. You do the same thing x number of times, that enters your subconscious mind, so you see it in the exam, you know what to answer. Or maybe like practicing the uh, in practice set like Whizlabs or other things, and that also can help you to improvise your memory power. uh, so these are the questions I generally had on behalf of my audience. And thanks, Justin, for your time. So anything would you like to share before you we end the call, Justin?
Um, so after I got all the certifications, I got a lot of uh, attention on LinkedIn, and I decided to create a blog post that covered some of the most commonly asked questions I received. So I can share that with you if you want to send that out. But that has like my personal ranking of the AWS certifications by difficulty, um, and some guidance on the training materials I used, and how someone can go about choosing the certification that's right for them. The AWS has designed the certification paths around like particular roles. So there's like a architect role, developer role, and they recommend specific certifications for those paths. I'm kind of the outlier where I decided to get them all, but that does have like a plateauing effect. Like I'm not going to see a whole lot of career benefits from getting them all, because I'm not going to like necessarily use them all in one role, if that makes sense, because they're vastly different technologies. I mean, me working as a consultant, I can choose from like my different experiences based on the client that I'm working with. So that kind of helps me there. But if you're going to be working with like in one position, then you can save some time by just going for the certifications that are relevant to that position. Um,
Yeah, would love to share your blog post with the people out there. Happy to do that. So either you can give me the link over the Slack. I'll just pin it in the comment section of the video, and also I will share it with my user Telegram group and other places where I generally interact with the people out there. So for the people out there, if you have any further questions, you can do ask in the comment section. I will do reach out to Justin for any follow-up questions from you guys. If there is going to be a pile of questions, then I will request Justin again for a part 2 video if you guys are interested in it, or any other community builder who is start like Justin will be try to involve them, and will try to bring the community more engaging and interactive as much I could. So thanks a lot, Justin, for being here on the two on the weekend, and for the community means a lot for us. So thanks a lot.